You're listening to Breaking Bias, the podcast all about preconceived opinions. Join us as we dive headfirst into a new prejudice every other week. From the absurd to the controversial, no bias is off limits. Ultimately, the real question is, will you break or take the bias?
Okay, girls, episode 3.
Yeah, our
Woohoo!
next bias.
Everyone excited?
Yes.
Of course. Can't wait.
I
Good.
think this one is quite interesting.
Yeah,
It is. It is.
Yeah. So, the bias for today is lower educated people are less smart.
Indeed.
Oei.
Okay, so maybe before we dive into the bias, it is handy to discuss what we consider lower educated in this
Mhm.
podcast. And to agree on this, we decided to stick to what I think is a fact in the Netherlands.
Yep.
Lower educated people is everything below a bachelor's degree, and everything above a bachelor's degree is higher educated.
Yes.
Yes, but
So-
you also considered higher educating if you not still have your bachelor's degree, but are working on it,
Yeah.
right?
So, if you have your HAVO diploma in Dutch,
Then you are lower educated.
Then you are lower educated.
Yeah, because you didn't do a study.
Like, of course, when you're 15, you're not lower educated when you're doing HAVO, but when you are 30 and you only have HAVO, you are lower educated.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you're still in the progress of.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you didn't
And-
yeah.
if you didn't do anything after high school, then you're lower educated, no matter what level of education you did in high
And-
school.
If you look at it black and white, in black and white, Jesus, we are lower educated right now.
Because we don't have.
You only have a diploma
degree,
in high
yeah.
school.
Yeah. However, people will see us as higher educated because we are probably going to, get
Oh,
our
that's the
bachelor's
plan.
degree.
Yeah.
Graduate, yeah.
So therefore, people see us as higher educated. But if you just look at it black and white, we are still lower educated.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the point.
But let's just decide that that is the way we're going to
Yeah.
approach this in this
Mhm.
podcast, just
Yeah.
to keep that out of the question.
Yeah.
And then maybe it would be nice to discuss if everyone has only done or is doing a bachelor's degree, or what have you done
Yeah,
before
we-
this?
Yeah, what did you do after high school? I myself, I first did go to like what's called MBO,
Yeah.
which is after a MAVO diploma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and now I'm in the bachelor's.
Yeah. I
Program.
graduated from HAVO on high school, and now I'm here.
Yeah, same.
So,
Same.
Same.
All right, smarty pantsies.
okay, so I think we can start with our first segment of the podcast, which is facts and figures.
Okay, so some facts and figures to start off the topic. About the population in the Netherlands, 21% of the population has less than a high school diploma. I thought that was quite a lot, to be
Damn.
honest.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
1/5 of.
One
So
fifth
that's
of the
only
population.
how is it called in English? Only preschool? Is it preschool?
Secondary.
primary school?
Primary.
Okay.
Yeah, so like until you're about 12
Oh
years old.
Jesus.
And then 32% of the population in the Netherlands has a high school or MBO diploma,
Mhm.
so lower educated in this case.
Mm-hmm.
And 47% of the people in the Netherlands have a
Damn.
bachilor's degree or higher,
That's almost
which is then
half.
quite a lot, I would
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
Smart,
Yeah.
smart
Which
country.
makes it even weirder
Seriously.
because then only half of the people in the Netherlands are considered higher educated.
I thought that was quite a lot, to be
Yeah.
honest. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so too.
Okay, so then another fact and figure about the effects. Education has a positive effect on social and civic engagement because, according to the statistics, individuals with a higher level of education are more likely to participate in volunteer work and cultural activities than those with a lower level of education.
Oh,
Okay, interesting.
yeah, because you might think that people that are lower educated, I don't know why you might think,
Are
but
doing
in my
voluntary work.
will do voluntary
Yeah.
work. I don't know why. I think
I
that,
know my mom, she's not higher educated, and I know that she's doing a lot of cultural activities and volunteer work. But my dad, for example, he doesn't, and he is higher educated.
Yeah.
I don't know what that
Maybe
says, but-
nor because if you think about lower educated people, you think about doing things with hands and practical things,
Yeah.
and that's more similar to for you volunteering.
Yeah, I think more because I think that higher educated people are more busy with their ambition and their jobs and
Yeah.
everything, and less with like culture and volunteer work because they're
Mhm.
more like smart and want to
Yeah.
work on their ambition. So therefore, I thought maybe higher educated people would.
Okay, but maybe unpopular opinion, maybe higher educated people are more politically informed, for example, and see more benefit in doing volunteer work and that kind of stuff. Could be.
Good one.
Yeah,
Good
could
one.
also be indeed. Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay, do you have more facts, Bibi?
Yes, I do, Fenna.
Yes.
About combining IQ and EQ to education, there is no definitive research indicating that study degree is directly related to IQ and EQ, but studies have shown that individuals with higher levels of education tend to have higher average IQ scores and EQ scores. So, for example, individuals with a graduate degree have an average of 118 in an IQ test, and lower educated people have an average of 100 in an IQ test. An average is between 80 and 119.
Oh, okay. So
I would say that it's quite a difference, to be honest. But
Okay. Interesting.
But to end this off, still, it's important to keep in mind that education is not the only factor in IQ and EQ, because also socioeconomic status has to do with it, cultural background, and personality traits.
yeah, I
So
do
it's not
agree.
like directly
Related to IQ or EQ.
No, it's not directly proof,
Okay.
but still, the statistics do say that people with higher education have higher IQs in
Mhm.
tests.
Yeah.
Interesting. Is it possible to train your IQ? Just curious.
Yeah, right?
So, like, the more you learn, the higher your IQ will become. Because
I don't know.
IQ is
actually.
not connected to like facts or anything you should know. It's
No.
more about seeing
abilities
Yeah.
to connect and
connect
yeah.
things and seeing like the overall.
I don't know if you can. Well, I guess you can train a little, but I don't think if you're
I
like.
think you can train everything if you want, but
Yeah.
it's more. I think it depends on the person and their
Yeah.
experience, their personality traits.
Like maybe
so-
you can train the tests. Maybe you can train
Yeah,
how to fill
indeed.
in the IQ tests, but that doesn't mean that you will be
You will-
smarter in
yeah.
life.
Mhm.
Yeah, but personally, I don't think if you have like an IQ of 80, you're not that smart.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That you can actually train yourself to go to like 130 or something.
No,
I don't
it's
think
just
that's actually
also
a
how
thing.
you see life and how you
Mhm.
take things on.
Yeah.
Okay.
So far a lot of interesting facts and figures, but maybe it's nice to ask the most intelligent program out there, artificial intelligence. So I think it's time for Ask AI.
Yeah. So we asked AI, are lower educated people less smart? And let's listen to the answer of AI.
No. Lower levels of education do not necessarily indicate lower intelligence. Intelligence is a complex and multidimensional trait that cannot be fully captured by educational achievement alone. It is important to recognize that each person has their own unique strengths and weaknesses, and intelligence can manifest in many different ways. Therefore, it is unfair and inaccurate to assume that someone is less intelligent based solely on their level of education.
Yeah, so I do agree with AI, and I think this is a really good answer since I have a lot of friends that did not, finish their HAVO, for example, or high school, and don't even do a bachelor right now, but they do have their own entrepreneurship, and I think they are still very intelligent based on their strengths and weaknesses. So yeah, I'm against this bias, guys.
Strong.
What do you think, Noor?
I don't know. I am still pro the bias, even if AI says not so. I do believe that looking at overall people that are lower educated, they are less smart compared to higher educated people.
And why? Why do you think that's true?
Well, I see smart as in a way that you're like smart in life, but also just in understanding things very fast, like knowing what someone means. So
But
like understanding, quickly what people think. Yeah, and also in IQ tests, you need to make connections with things, and you need to understand what the question is about, or like what element is missing or anything.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Not
And
really straightforward answer, but
Yeah.
more
Or like reasoning. and-
Yeah, and
Exactly. And if you
connecting.
look at it like that, I believe that it's very much connected in understanding quickly what people mean, what you want, what you need to do, etc. So looking at it that way, I do believe that if lower educated people have overall a lower IQ, that they are indeed less smart, in my opinion.
Yeah, I do
Yeah.
understand what you're saying. However, I think the people I know, for example, there are lots of people that do not have the motivation to study. They hate learning, they hate books, and that's why they did not they do not have a bachelor or something.
Yeah.
But I don't think that they are less smart then, because they just cannot learn, they don't want to learn, they don't have the motivation to learn. But yeah.
No, I'm also not saying that every person that is lower educated is not smart, but I am a pro with the bias, as
Yeah.
I think overall, if you look at
generalizing.
if you generalize it, if you look at all the people that are lower educated, yes, and compare it
Yeah.
with higher educated, I think you're less smart. No offense, but it doesn't mean that you're not practical
offense.
and you cannot do anything. That's not what I'm saying. The bias
No,
is
because dumb or useless is something completely different than less
Exactly.
smart.
Exactly, because for example, a lot of lower educated people are practical, very practical, but I also believe that does not mean that higher educated people are have the less potential to also be practical.
Yeah.
Like, of course, the lower educated people are better at practical things because they learned it better because they
Mhm.
do it longer.
Mhm.
But I think if higher educated people also learn it,
I disagree with that, to be honest, because being lower educated doesn't necessarily mean that you've spent more time on practical things.
no, but I mean, like, for example, if you're a plumber,
Yeah.
that's lower educated.
Yeah. So then you're more practical, but not in
For example, a
general.
plumber is better at doing plumber things
than anyone else.
than an entrepreneur. But it doesn't mean that if an entrepreneur learns how to plumb in the same time, that they are less good at being a plumber than a lower educated people, because that's what people say. Well, yeah, but they are better at practical things. Yeah, because they practice it longer.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's my
Yeah.
opinion.
No, I don't think so really. I think maybe those people who don't really like to stay in school and learn from books, I think they are smarter at working with their hands, not really because they have practiced it longer, but because they find it easier to learn things the practical way.
Yeah.
So I disagree with that.
Yeah.
I also I came from a school, a high school where there were like the lowest of the lowest were there until MAVO. So we had a lot of also big classrooms where you, for example, could learn how to build walls, and one about caring for people and
Practical stuff.
yeah. And once I had to go in there and look at these things, and I was like very impressed with these people can do, and
Mhm.
they
Yeah.
didn't even like do it for that long. They just practiced like 2 times and they just get it. And I think I'm more book smart, or I'm not sure, but
I get.
I understand.
Yeah, I do understand.
Hmm.
Don't know if I agree, but I get your point.
Yeah. Such a civil discussion.
Yeah. So I think overall, what AI said, every person has their own unique strengths and weaknesses, and I can connect it to smartness as well, because there are different kinds of smart. But there are different opinions, guys.
Also.
Nice, indeed.
So far,
Again.
yes, we still have
Yeah.
some things, some segments to go through. Maybe
Yeah.
someone might shift their opinion.
Mm.
But this is the score
So far.
halfway
So
through
far,
the
so good.
2 against 2, you guys.
Okay, so we've asked AI what its opinion is.
They them.
Let's go to the next segment, public opinion. So we walked into school and we asked several students of what their opinion is about our bias. And let's listen to the answers, guys.
I don't think that people with a lower degree are less intelligent. I think because they study more practical things, that they might be like smarter in other things, and maybe we can study better, or we want to study more. But it's not that they are less smart or something. Maybe they are even smarter. You don't know. It's not like the school. Or that's my opinion.
I'm against the opinion because I don't believe people who have a lower education are not smart or anything. Because I believe most entrepreneurs are undereducated or don't have any education. So I think that.
This bias is something I can definitely agree on, because you see that the higher educated people require a higher IQ. because they tend to learn and write and think way more than lower educated people. And therefore, you see that those people with a higher IQ are almost always higher educated because they require a different form of learning, which requires a higher IQ.
Yeah, well, I think it's really
Alright.
funny what the last one said. She said people with a higher education require a higher IQ, and we also saw that in the facts and figures. But they say nothing about EQ, which is actually how your social
No,
Emotions.
that was in the facts and figures. People with higher education have higher IQ and
And
EQ.
EQ.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but overall, I do think that for studies, for example, university, uni, like this is,
University.
for example, university, that is a very individual way of learning. So an EQ is not necessary to finich your university.
You think so? I don't think so, because university-based learning is also a lot of project-based, and I think working in projects, EQ and social work is also really important.
Yeah, but that's my point. University is very individual. HBO, which you're redoing,
It's all teamwork.
that's
Yeah,
all
okay.
teamwork. My sister has studied law school, and she stopped it because she's a very social person, and she was like
She was not-
devastated
yeah,
that everything was individual, and
yeah.
she had no friends there because everyone was there for themselves. So therefore,
Yeah.
I understand that in general, in
Yeah,
order
okay.
to finish school, the only thing you really need is IQ. Looking at a university, I do agree that in HBO and for sure in lower educated,
Yeah.
lower education, EQ is also very important.
Yeah.
I always heard indeed, if you compare HBO and uni, that there is a big difference indeed in like exams, individual work, and HBO. For example, our study is literally projects, and we had in the first and second year some exams.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
now,
it's very true.
so that's a
because-
big difference. Why is that? I cannot. But that's another.
It's funny that you say that because
for
you're
another day.
Yeah. It's funny that you say that because you're talking about the difference between HBO and university in the Netherlands. And I made the step from MBO to HBO. And I saw there's also such a big difference. For example, on MBO, we were also still younger, but you really needed to be there. If you had class, you had to be there. And we never had tests. Only like for Dutch and English and like math. But the rest was just only projects. And then I came to HBO, which was also during the COVID pandemic. I was alone in my room studying for exams. I was like, I haven't done
don't know
this
how to
since
do
I got
this.
my driver's license.
Yeah.
So yeah, which
That's
is a
also
really big difference.
Yeah.
But I'm glad we made it.
Yeah.
But talking about like HBO bachelor's degree, for example, in my opinion, due to COVID, a lot of rules were skipped. You know, people
Yeah,
could
true.
pass the first
Yeah.
year without their
Mhm.
proper dues.
Yeah.
Yeah, with
And-
with some of the points
and-
missing.
Yeah, exactly. And in my opinion, and that might sound a bit harsh or like I'm sitting on top of the mountain or something, but in my opinion, there's a lot of people in our studies that really just shouldn't be here.
Mhm.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Sorry, but they have not like had the ability to do a bachelor's degree.
Yeah, and
They're just
also-
leaning on teamwork.
Yeah.
Indeed. And also when you go back, if you look at high school, a lot of people graduated from high school
Yeah, the
without
HAVO.
making any exams.
Yeah.
That's so
Did
weird.
you remember
like
that?
final
Yeah.
exams.
Yeah, and that's
That's-
the way to prove that you are able to do a bachelor's degree,
Yeah.
which is, in my
Mhm.
opinion, a really bad decision they made.
No, but I do fully agree. I think that will also very much show in their thesis because
Yeah, like individual assignments.
because their thesis is you cannot lean on anyone, and
No.
it's
Mhm.
True.
big
Yeah.
project.
But I think we'll see that
Yeah,
happening in the
that'll be
coming 2 years.
Yeah. I think making exams in high school shows that you have the perseverance to do it. And in the end, you have to make a thesis indeed. So you
Yeah.
have to show that. And it's all your work, you know.
Yeah.
So you can indeed not...
Fake
And
it.
also,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
remember one teacher of mine saying at MBO, he said, this school is 80% motivation and 20% real knowledge. So
Where did they say
which
that?
school?
yeah, at my last school, at my MBO school, they were like, if you have the motivation, you will eventually get there.
Yeah.
Which made me like more at ease,
Yeah, but
even though I could really easily do it.
I do
but
fully agree with that also. Like,
I think
no.
also for our studies, it's pretty much true. If you have the 80% motivation, but maybe no knowledge, then you have the motivation to regain that knowledge.
Yeah, but then again, if you have a lot of motivation, but you don't have the knowledge, which makes that you do everything wrong, it can be impossible that your motivation stays
Yeah.
up high. So you
Mhm.
need
That's
to have
true.
some kind of
knowledge about
knowledge
something.
to keep your motivation.
Yeah.
Because if you will like, oh no, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong. Then
Oh, but I have motivation, so I can do it. Yeah.
yeah, like
But this is, for example, why I believe that thesis is a good way to end a bachelor's degree. Because
Yeah.
For sure.
when they say in a job application that you need to have a bachelor's degree, in my opinion, like what I know from my work as a recruiter, is that when it says bachelor's degree, it's not that you actually need to have done, for example, creative business, like a media bachelor's degree.
No, it doesn't really
It's
matter
more
what
about
it says.
Any bachelor's degree you've done,
Yeah.
just because you know a certain way of thinking
Yeah.
that lower educated people don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And during your bachelor's degree, during your thesis, you need to individually show that you have that certain
Yeah.
mindset to think as a researcher, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, that's where many people will fail.
Yeah.
Something very interesting regarding like the way of education is also I read somewhere, and I've not done research on this for this podcast. So if someone's listening and thinks that I'm wrong or
Correct
that
me
is-
if I'm wrong.
correct me, indeed. However, it is a fact that the education system of Finland is the best way of education, because what they do in Finland is they do not work with grades or anything. And I heard a friend of mine who is doing a study in the Netherlands based on the education system of Finland. So he gets like valid, poor, or fail. Like
in middle school.
yeah, like you have three.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
passed.
Mhm.
You need to improve something, or you failed.
Yeah.
You don't have any grades.
Anything like that. And I said to him, I will be so less motivated because I want to work for a 9 and for an 8 and for
Yeah.
a 10.
Same.
But then again, it turns out apparently that this way of learning is less efficient than just a valid and a poor and a fail.
Yeah, but my opinion would be more that it's like I have the same as you, that you feel less motivated, and I feel like the risk of getting a negative grade would be like higher because it's 50-50, you know, instead of you can get a 5.5, that's good, or a 10, that's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then again, I think it does prepare you better for work.
Definitely.
Because it's not that you get a grade for your work. It's just you need to do it efficiently, and it needs to be good.
Yeah.
And what good is, that's an opinion. So I think it's a very interesting way, and I also think that the education system of the Netherlands could be improved, as everything is like you need to learn and you need to sit in your room and like learn everything and stamp it inside of your brain
Yeah.
instead of practical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we now have an exchange student from Finland in our class, and I asked her also about what do you think of this learning system in the Netherlands, and she said, yeah, it's so way more pressure than I have in Finland. So that's maybe also connected to your story, because she is very smart and she knows a lot, but she thinks this working
Way of working,
way of
learning.
yeah, is not really
efficient.
and a good learning way
Yeah,
of
I
learning.
also- the system in Netherlands overall is not that good, because, for example, when I was in lower education, they had to choose like which high school you were gonna go, right? They were testing that with this test, and once you had a certain amount of points, you could go here, and a certain amount of points you could go there, right? Which was really like strange for me to see. Do you know the difference between I think this is called alpha and beta people?
Mhm.
So beta people are better at, for example, math and science and stuff like that. And alpha people are more better at languages and grammar and stuff like that. So I'm really a beta person. So actually for my math and science, I scored like for VWO, they're really high, but like because of my language problems, I scored very low for that one. So I even had to go to the lowest because of the languages, which is really bad because I always had 10s for math and science and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Because I think the education should be a little bit different in the Netherlands, for more fitting for the people, not having equally as good for every topic.
Just curious, if you're like only got 10s for science and mathematics, you're doing an alpha study. Like, why did you just
Right now?
I'm interested because you could also do like mathematics or
Yeah.
anything, and this is a very alpha study.
I know, but I was really creative based. So like I liked science and stuff like that, but I liked being creative more.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's why.
It's not always when you're smart in something
No,
that
not
you
always.
also really like it and want to do something with it.
Like
in
it
your
can
study.
very happen because it's easier to like something if you're good at it, I think.
Yeah, that's true.
So far, everyone still has their opinions. We can't agree on this.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it's time for the last segment before we go to the conclusion. So it's time for POV.
Yes, so for this week's POV, I made a POV for you, Bibi.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'm very curious what you think. So you are a student at a university.
Yes.
You take classes with a lot of book-smart people. They can learn very easily and pass every test they take, which is, book-smart.
Mhm.
You, on the other hand, excel more at project-based learning, working with your hands, making projects, for example, movies or stuff like that. And your classmates have a harder time with that. Who is more smart, you or your classmates?
This one's very easy for me. My classmates are smarter. Because, to be honest, I feel like I've been the only one who hasn't really said my opinion yet.
Yeah.
But I
Throw it.
That's first.
Throw it.
So unusual. I completely agree with Noor on this whole bias thing. So, in my opinion, there's multiple levels of intelligence, but in my opinion, higher educated people can succeed in more of those levels than lower educated people. So that would make them more intelligent. So, for example, say you have the intelligence of being able to be artistic, like making music, or you have sound intelligence, art intelligence. No, that's really a thing, I swear.
Okay.
So I believe higher educated people have more possibilities to succeed in multiple of those levels. So that makes them, in my opinion, more smart. And I also believe that lower educated people, no offense, they miss something that makes them able to study on a bachelor's degree. So, for example...
But what do they miss then?
Well, if you say that someone is a book learner, then in my opinion, that is the ability to put your mind to it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would say that lower educated people miss that ability.
Yeah.
Then. It's like nothing wrong with that.
No.
But in my opinion, that makes them less smart. And I believe that is proven by the way MBO is educated or is like taught at school.
Yeah.
You get way more rules at MBO because you need more rules, apparently. You need to be motivated. You need times that you need to be at school,
so
that kind of stuff.
Kind of you on HBO, you will be trained to have that kind of mindset to learn
or
into.
you just have more like ability to put your mind to it.
Yeah, okay.
So that makes higher educated people, in my opinion, smarter.
Yeah.
And that's why in this POV thing, I believe that my classmates are smarter than me.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, Bibi, I think this was a really, really clear explanation. And I think you already took the bias right now. So
Yeah.
I'm also curious about the others. Guys, let's go to break or take the bias.
Okay, I think I want to hop up in your argument, Bibi, because I'm also taking the bias. I'm also pro with the bias that lower educated people are less smart, and I think I already made my points a little bit earlier in this podcast.
Yeah.
But in short, I just do believe that if you compare lower educated people with higher educated people, overall, the higher educated people are smarter in different ways. However, I am less strongly pro compared to Bibi
Yeah.
because I do disagree with some points Bibi said.
Yeah.
For example, like the way people can complete a bachelor's,
yeah.
for example. I don't think that's...
Okay, but
Yeah.
then I do want to give a little disclaimer to my answer because even if I take the bias, I still believe we need lower educated people.
Yeah,
like
for
we
sure.
need them
Yeah, of
in many
course.
things. We need them more than we need higher educated people.
Yeah.
In addition, I do believe that we can learn also a lot from lower
Yeah.
educated people. It's not that we can only learn from higher educated people,
Yeah.
though it's a way of thinking
Yeah.
that could be interesting to like get
Yeah.
new insights,
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
So it's not that lower educated are dumb or that higher educated are
No, in my opinion, they're just less smart,
Yeah.
but we still need them.
Strong opinions, guys, but I still break the bias because I do what Bibi said about put your mind into something. I get what you're saying, but I do think that people that are less educated or lower educated are still smart because they are very smart in other things that we cannot do. Like we can learn from lower educated people you just mentioned. So I do think that they are still smart and not less smart than higher educated people. So I do not agree with the bias.
Okay.
Yeah, for me
Yeah.
the same. I think smart is such a broad spectrum of things you can be. Smart is like you can be book smart, you can be hand smart. I'm just calling it like this, but
Yeah.
I think what kind of diploma you're getting, for sure in the Netherlands, where the education system is, from my opinion, just broken. You cannot say someone is smart or less smart by looking at which kind
Yeah.
of diploma they have.
Okay. I do agree with you.
That's
Dirkje.
nice. That means that is 2-2 this episode.
Yes.
2 breaking, 2 taking. So yeah, I cannot wait for the next episode
Yeah, I'm
in
curious.
2 weeks. Let's see what is gonna happen next.
That's all for today's episode of Breaking Bias. Thank you for tuning in as we explored the weird and wonderful world of prejudice. We'll be back soon with more episodes that are sure to make you question everything you thought you knew. See you next time!